Imagine walking into a store with $100, expecting a full basket, and leaving with half as much. Why does it feel like your money buys less? Across many economies, people have experienced substantial price increases in recent years. But the real story is more complicated than simply saying everything is getting expensive. Economists call a broad rise in the overall price level inflation. It measures how quickly prices are changing across a basket of goods and services. Inflation does not mean every price rises. Some prices can increase, some can barely move, and others can actually fall. And here's the part that confuses almost everyone. Inflation can slow down while prices remain high. Suppose a product rises from $10 to $15. Slower inflation doesn't automatically send that $15 price back to 10. There isn't one universal reason prices rise. Inflation can come from several forces interacting at the same time. First, imagine demand suddenly exploding. If people want more than businesses can produce or supply, sellers may gain room to raise prices when demand grows faster than supply. Scarcity can push prices upward. This is one of the simplest economic forces behind price increases, but prices can also rise from the other direction. Not because people suddenly want more, but because businesses suddenly have less to sell. When factories, shipping networks, raw materials, or important inputs are disrupted, supply can fall, and prices can rise even when demand hasn't changed much. Energy is a hidden input behind countless products. Fuel and electricity help power factories, farms, warehouses, transportation, and other businesses. When energy becomes more expensive, some businesses face higher production and transportation costs. And part of those costs can eventually reach consumers. That loaf of bread didn't travel directly from a farm to your kitchen. It passed through multiple stages, each with costs that can change over time. Farmers also depend on inputs such as fertilizer, fuel, machinery, and transportation. When those inputs become expensive, producing food can become more costly. A drought, flood, disease outbreak, or other shock can reduce crop supply. Less supply can mean higher prices for affected foods. Geopolitical conflict can affect energy, fertilizer, shipping, and trade routes. Those disruptions can travel through the global economy and reach food prices. Current example, an imported product has transportation costs before it even reaches a store. Changes in fuel, shipping, insurance, or logistics can change the final price. If your currency loses value against currencies used to pay foreign suppliers, imported goods can become more expensive in local currency terms. Housing is especially important because people can't simply stop needing a place to live. When demand outpaces available housing, rents and home-related costs can come under pressure. You can't create thousands of new homes overnight. Construction takes land, workers, materials, financing, and time. So housing supply can respond slowly. Housing costs involve more than rent. Insurance, maintenance, utilities, financing, and other expenses can also affect what households actually pay. Labor is another major business expense. Higher wages can raise costs, but wages alone don't automatically cause inflation. The broader economic context matters. Here's the missing piece: productivity. If workers can produce more per hour, businesses may absorb higher wages without raising prices as much. A business doesn't pay just one bill, it pays many. When several costs rise together, keeping prices unchanged becomes harder. But businesses can't always pass every cost directly to customers. Competition can limit how much they can raise prices without losing sales. When costs rise, a company has choices: raise prices, cut costs, improve efficiency, accept lower margins, or some combination of all four. A $20 restaurant meal isn't $20 of ingredients. You're also paying for workers, rent, electricity, equipment, transportation, and the service itself. Services have another feature. You often need a human being to provide them. That makes labor costs an especially important part of many service prices. When central banks raise interest rates, borrowing generally becomes more expensive. That can reduce some spending and investment, helping cool demand. Interest rates don't instantly change grocery prices, rent, or fuel. Monetary policy works through the economy over time, and different prices respond at different speeds. Getting a bigger paycheck doesn't automatically mean you're better off. What matters is how quickly your income grows compared with the prices you actually face. When prices rise, each unit of currency generally buys fewer goods and services. Economists call this a loss of purchasing power. Inflation doesn't hit every household equally. Someone who spends heavily on food and rent can experience very different price pressure from someone with different spending patterns. An official inflation index is useful for measuring broad price changes, but your personal experience depends heavily on what you buy. This is why one person's shopping basket can feel cheaper, while another's feels worse. Different markets face different supply, demand, and cost conditions. Expectations can influence behavior too. When people and businesses expect continuing inflation, they may adjust wages, contracts, spending, and prices. Now the puzzle makes sense. Different shocks can hit different parts of the economy at the same time, making households feel pressure from several directions. So, why is everything so expensive? Usually there isn't one villain. Prices are the result of millions of decisions interacting across markets. The next time you see a price jump, don't just ask, "Why is this so expensive?" Ask what changed: supply, demand, costs, money, or expectations. That's how you start understanding the economy. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more money and business content. And comment below. What should we explain next? Thanks for watching.